Hey guys, thanks for watching Beyond Science. It's Mikexingchen. In this video, we're going to talk about Tesla. No, not the car, this Tesla. Today, we credit Serbian-American inventor Nikola Tesla for several technological advancements that have greatly contributed to the continued development of modern human society. Now, this eccentric genius is regarded by some people as a pioneer of several impressive strides we have taken during the 20th century for his indispensable contributions in radio, motors, and electricity, particularly the alternating current technology that powers most of the world today. However, while he is rightly praised for his futuristic vision, he was also the brains behind several proposed inventions that were never fully realized, either because his ideas were too outlandish, were bizarre, or pretty much impossible to have been built with the technology available at that time. So in today's video, we're going to talk about those inventions. We're going to talk about 7 of Tesla's brilliant inventions that really never got built. First of all, wireless energy. In working with radio, microwaves, and his creation of the Tesla coil, thank you so much, I really needed that in Red Alert, Nikola Tesla also seriously entertained the possibility of creating a system for the wireless transmission or distribution of energy across vast distances. So in 1901, he took a big step toward achieving this goal when he received funding from JP Morgan to construct a 185-foot tall wireless power station in Shoreham, Long Island, New York, referred to as Wardenclyffe Tower. Apart from being able to transmit messages across the Atlantic, he envisioned the tower to be a wireless telecommunication facility that will compete against the radio-based telegraphy system while also being able to light up, well, all of New York City. Unfortunately, Morgan decided to cease funding the project any further because Tesla was unable to look for additional backers. Then Tesla had to abandon the project completely after just a few years. Following the failure of his wireless tower, Tesla turned his attention to aviation, hoping he could put to good use his knowledge in electrical and mechanical engineering to develop an electric-powered supersonic airship. In 1919, the scientist discussed in an article in Reconstruction magazine about this aircraft, which would be able to transport passengers from New York to London in just 3 hours. According to Tesla, the power supply of these high-speed airships was virtually unlimited, as these vehicles would be powered by electricity straight from power plants. As for how this would be done, Tesla planned to use his wireless energy transmission design, which, if successful, would have completely eradicated the need for flying vehicles to stock and carry fuel. The next unrealized Tesla invention was humanoid robots. In 1898, Tesla demonstrated at an electrical exhibition in New York City's Madison Square Garden a radio-controlled bolt, which some people at the time regarded as the world's first remote control weapon. However, Tesla saw the potential of his bolt design in a different light, treating it as the first step towards the development of a race of robots, or mechanical men, which would do most of the heavy lifting for the rest of humanity. He referred to his model as a automation, and he thought that the military establishment could stand to benefit from his design. So he offered it to the governments of the United States and Great Britain. And while Tesla's invention is recognized by a few people today as what gave birth to the field of robotics, his idea was really just too far ahead of his time, and his practical applications were not fully explored until several decades later. Then he thought of the thought camera. At some point, it crossed Tesla's mind to invent a machine that could read people's thoughts. In a news article published in 1933, the mechanical engineer revealed that one of the projects that he had been working on over the years was building a device for the photographing of thoughts. He first conceived the idea in 1893, believing that images formed in thought are reflected on the retina, which could then be viewed or captured by an apparatus. According to Tesla, if this had been accomplished, every thought of the individual could be read, and that human minds would just be like an open book. While Tesla never realized his plan to construct a thought camera, researchers today have been exploring methods of interpreting brain signals and converting them into crude versions of images as seen by a person in his or her mind. That would literally be the coolest thing. Can you imagine? Like way down in the future, if something was invented where you could just think of a bunch of things, where you can capture your memories and just play them back in, like, by that time, 20,000K clarity. Anyway, number 5, earthquake machine. In 1893, Tesla patented a steam-powered mechanical oscillator, which he designed to vibrate up and down at very high speeds in order to generate electricity. Several years later, in 1898, he told reporters that his oscillating machine caused the ground to shake while he was tuning his device at his laboratory in New York City. Police and ambulances supposedly arrived at the scene, but Tesla disabled the oscillator and instructed his employees to feign ignorance at what really happened to keep the real cause of the earthquake a secret. The scientist also went on to claim that this earthquake machine could even bring down something as tall as the Empire State Building if he wanted it to. Speaking of things that we should really never mess mess with, Tesla also toyed with inventing an artificial tidal wave. Tesla believed that science held the key in preventing future conflicts and wars. So in 1907, the New York World published an article revealing Tesla's proposal to utilize wireless telegraphy to detonate powerful explosives at sea, which triggered the formation of massive tidal waves capable of capsizing enemy fleets. According to the newspaper, the artificial tidal wave would render navies useless, much like paper bowls floating in bathtubs. This particular military innovation by Tesla, while bringing its own horrors to the world as a weapon of war, was regarded by some at the time as a tool that would help mankind get closer to achieving world peace. Although this technology was not realized by Tesla, but the intent of developing high-powered weapons as a deterrent of war did come in the form of nuclear weapons many years later, and see how well that turned out. Finally, this is my favorite, the death ray. In the 1930s, Nikola Tesla, who was already in his 70s, told the New York Times that he had come up with a new military invention that could, quote, cause armies of millions to drop dead in their tracks. This involved accelerating mercury particles around 50 times faster than the speed of sound in a vacuum chamber, producing a powerful beam that can bring down a fleet of 10,000 enemy airplanes at a distance of 250 miles. Now, when are 10,000 airplanes ever in the air? I don't know, but I really like this concept only because it's super Star Wars-ish, and if ever Independence Day happened, this could become really useful. Anyway, this proposed military weapon was dubbed by the media at the time as a death ray, but Tesla himself preferred to call it a peace ray, as it would be able to save lives by being an effective and impenetrable defense against airborne attacks and invasion attempts by, Martians. Tesla actually attempted to find a government willing to fund the construction of this death ray, but the only country who entertained his idea was the Soviet Union, which attempted a partial test in the late 1930s. To this day, it still remains unknown if Tesla ever succeeded in building a working prototype of this peace ray, and when he passed away, the government purportedly rummaged through his belongings in order to find his plans for the particle beam. However, at least according to them, such plans were supposedly never found. And of course, these are just some of the documented inventions that he tried to create but never did. I am leaving out, his teleportation device and of course time machine, which he supposedly worked on. And maybe he succeeded. I mean, think about it. This guy who grew up in the late 1800s, early 1900s, tried to build a Death Star. I mean, this guy was literally the real life Tony Stark. And I don't know, I do happen to believe that a lot of his inventions did get made or secretly made. And I also think that he had ideas that we don't hear about, but if we did, it would completely blow our minds even today. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think there are secret Tesla inventions out there that the government isn't telling us about? Do you think he was actually successful in teleportation, time travel? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. See you later.